We're standing right on the edge of a huge shift in our digital world. Seriously, it's like we're moving from having one giant, faraway brain to a whole network of super fast local reflexes. So let's dive into the 6G revolution that's making this whole thing happen. Think about it. Right now, every time you do, well, anything online, your data goes on this incredible journey. It zips off to a huge, centralized data center somewhere, gets processed, and then travels all the way back to you. That's really the cloud in a nutshell. And that whole round trip, it takes about 200 milliseconds. Now, for sending an email, that's nothing, right? You've never noticed. But what about for a self-driving car that has to make a split-second life or death decision? Suddenly, 200 milliseconds is an absolute eternity. It's a massive failure point for the real-time world we're trying to build. So let's start with the reigning king, the cloud. We're going to take a look at the cracks in its armor that are becoming really hard to ignore, especially for the next wave of technology. And here's the fundamental irony, right? The very thing that made the cloud so powerful, its massive centralized nature, is now its biggest weakness. That physical distance creates delay, or latency. All the data from our billions of devices creates these huge traffic jams online. And honestly, every single mile that your data has to travel is another chance for a security breach. But here comes the challenger: edge computing. And look, this isn't just some small update. We're talking about a complete rethinking of how a network should work. And it's all being powered by the incredible promise of 6G. This is the perfect way to understand it. The cloud is like your brain. It's incredibly powerful, great for deep thinking, but it takes a moment for a signal to get from your foot to your brain and back again. Edge computing, that's the reflex that pulls your hand off a hot stove before your brain even knows what happened. It's local, it's instant, and it's unbelievably fast. So, the whole game is changing. This is the big architectural shift. We're going from one enormous, powerful brain to a distributed web of countless little local reflexes. Instead of a single core, we get this mesh of fast, smart nodes right where everything is happening. And 6G? Well, 6G is the nervous system that makes all these reflexes possible. We're talking about speeds of up to a terabyte per second, and latency so low it's measured in microseconds. But the real magic is that it's AI native. That means this reflexive intelligence is baked right into the network's DNA. It's not just some app running on top. Okay, so let's see how this all plays out in the ultimate high-stakes arena: autonomous vehicles. This is where the difference between a slow thought and an instant reflex is literally the difference between safety and disaster. I mean, just look at this comparison. It's not even close. A car that has to call home to the cloud is stuck with that huge 200 millisecond delay. But one using 6G and edge processing, it can react in under 10 milliseconds. The difference on this chart is dramatic, and in the real world, it's the difference between hitting the brakes in time or not. And here's the payoff. Real-world studies are showing that 6G-enabled edge networks can slash latency in vehicle networks by up to 47%. That's nearly half. This isn't just a tiny improvement. It is an absolute game changer for safety. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? You simply can't afford to wait for a signal to go to some data center hundreds of miles away and come back when someone steps out in front of the car. That decision has to happen right there, right then, instantly. All right, so let's put them head to head. Let's break down this showdown between the old guard, the cloud, and the new contender on the block, the edge. This table just lays it all out so clearly. Latency absolutely plummets. The network's shapeshifts from distant centers to local on-device servers. Now, the cloud is still going to be essential for the big heavy lifting stuff, like training massive AI models. But the edge, it's taking over for all the real-time decision-making and what's called V2X. That's vehicle-to-everything communication. It lets cars talk to each other and to the city itself. And maybe most importantly, by keeping data local, the edge makes it way more private and secure. So what does this all add up to? Let's peek into the decentralized future this tech is building. And let's be honest about both the amazing opportunities and the very real new challenges. When our digital world can finally react as fast as our physical one, some incredible things become possible. We're talking seamless augmented reality that feels real. Holographic phone calls where it feels like the other person is in the room. Truly smart cities where traffic just flows. And of course, cars that are in constant, instant communication with everything around them. But, okay, let's be real for a second. This new world has new dangers. Instead of protecting one giant data center, you now have to protect millions of tiny edge devices, and any one of them could be a backdoor for an attacker. The cost to build all this is enormous, and we're going to need brand new kinds of encryption to protect against the threats of tomorrow. The good news is the industry is already working on this stuff. The approach is called security by design, which basically means building the security in from the very beginning. They're using ideas like zero trust, where no device is trusted by default, and secure tech like blockchain to make sure every interaction is legit. So, we'll leave you with this question to chew on. This shift from the cloud to the edge, it's more than just a tech upgrade. It's about giving our digital world its own set of reflexes. And when everything around you, your car, your city, even your own reality, can react instantly, what kind of world does that create? What's next?